Hi, this is Linda with KLVW-TV, and joining me here in the studios today is Greg Prelich from the Nature Club, the president of the Nature Club. So welcome, Greg.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in today.
Sure.
We'll talk about the Nature Club in a few minutes, but I think first, I'd like to get to know you a little bit more, if that's okay with you.
That's fine with me.
We'll try not to go too deep of a dive. How long have you lived here in the village?
I moved here a little over 9 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guessing you like it?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Busy. No time to do to just relax and do nothing.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. It is the best time of your life to have the time of your life. Yeah, it's very busy here. So, so tell us a little bit about your background. I know your schooling and your things like that.
Well, I grew up in Bergen County, Wallington, New Jersey, Polish capital of New Jersey. I went to school at Montclair State, and then after that I went to State University of New York at Stony Brook.
Oh, my stomping grounds.
Is it?
Yeah, I live out there.
So I got a PhD there in genetics, and then moved up to Boston for 5 years, did a little postdoctoral fellowship there. And then I got my own lab working as a scientist at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx.
Wow.
And spent 19 years there.
My goodness. So genetics, I mean, I'll get totally lost in the weeds on that, but was that something that you decided to pursue to start?
No, I don't think I decided that. When I was young, I probably wanted to be a forest ranger or something like that.
I could see that.
I was, I was spending a lot of time outdoors looking for snakes, catching crayfish, things like that.
So how did you get from there to the geneticist to scientist?
Well, I figured I should take some biology courses, and I did. And wasn't really getting any direction out of that. I had no idea what real job I would get. And then in my senior year, I took a genetics course, and I did really, really good in it. And my professors were very good, and they wouldn't let me leave. So
oh, wow.
They put me on a direction to apply to graduate schools and things like that.
So did you, I don't want to say enjoy it, but did you find that rewarding? Did you come up with anything, that would be really useful, or you know what I mean? I don't know how to phrase it. I'm not a scientist.
You mean during the career doing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds fascinating. I mean, especially awesome. Nowadays, you hear so much about that,
It was awesome. Sometimes you hear people saying, I can't believe I get paid to do this job.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. I would work, 60, 70 hours a week, and I didn't care. It was just having a joy being in a lab all the time.
Oh, that's good.
And then you find something new that nobody else in the world knows.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was awesome.
That's good. And then so then from there you got your own lab after that, or it was during that? Or?
Yeah. So at the end of after all of that training, then I got my own lab, and I had my own lab for 19 years at Einstein.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then,
cool.
So I guess you're officially retired now?
Oh yeah, I retired early. I was having a good time doing it, but it can wear you down. It's when you try to work at that real high level. Yeah. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of these guys who's 75, 80 years old, barely moving and trying to hold on to a job. So
I think that's great, and you're obviously doing a lot of things that you love now. I mean, I know that you're really a birder. I don't know if I'll call it birder, but I wore this today. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's not like a real. I'm not a jewelry person. I've had this since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, we got this at an Amish village when I went with my parents. So I wore it in honor of your love for birding. So what made you get into that?
That came out of just being outdoors. Again, when I was young, I would just spend time out in the woods, out in the fields, looking for snakes and anything.
Right.
And then when I got a little bit older, one of my older brothers, Rich, he brought me fishing. He used to go up to the Catskills, and we went fly fishing all the time. And boy, when you're out in the Catskills, so we would spend, most of the weekends up in the Catskills fishing.
Oh, wow.
And when you're out there, you start if you're not a very good fly fisherman, you pay attention to other things. So I was paying attention to the birds and the flowers, and you have to pay attention to the insects, right? Because the fish are feeding on the insects, right? So you have to watch which insects are coming out. And eventually I noticed, hey, the fish aren't the only thing eating the insects. There's these birds coming down and eating them too.
Right.
So I start paying attention to them. So one thing leads to another.
Yeah. So like, if somebody wanted to start bird watching, do I need binoculars, or, it's
Yeah, really, you kind of do.
yeah.
There's a lot of equipment you can get when people get into it.
I've seen some of that.
Yeah, they have gear all over.
Probably
them.
on you.
Yeah. Yeah, these days people do it with a camera.
Yeah.
Right, the cameras are so good that I see some people who are starting out and they just go out there, take photos of the bird, and they don't know what they're taking a photo of, and then they'll go home and figure it out.
Oh, wow. So,
Right.
all right. So if somebody wanted to get into it, they could just start, walking around, or, that's what I do. I zoom in on the camera, and not to sound naive, but I just found it recently, and I think I had mentioned it to you or somebody else at the Nature Club one night, and I thought, oh, there's this great thing on Google where you just click a picture and it tells you what things are, and I've been using it for plants and flowers, but apparently there's a lot of different apps out there for identifying species, birds, plants, flowers. Other than Google, do you know of any others that
There's
are out
lots
there?
there's lots of them.
Yeah.
There are some, there's kind of the essential ones. In fact, that's one of the Nature Club programs that I want to do eventually, is
That would
tell
be
people
great.
about the apps that are out there.
Yeah, that would be great.
It's really great if you're a beginner to go out with somebody else who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's so many clubs, and the county parks have walks. You could try doing it on your own, and these apps help a lot.
Yeah.
But going with somebody else where you could ask questions of them, and it's such an easier way to do it.
Oh, yeah, no. It's more like when you're on your own and you're walking and it's like, oh, what is that flower? And then now I know I can quickly do that, or, well, that's an interesting bird, or, and you can take a picture and you can sort of just get an answer as to what it is. And then from there you can pursue it more. At least for me, I'm finding that very helpful.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Especially for things like flowers,
Yeah.
Flowers and plants,
Yeah.
because they don't move.
Yeah.
And you can take your cell phone, you go right up against it, and you
Yeah.
get a really good photo.
Yeah.
Sometimes the birds are pretty far away, and if
Yeah.
you try taking a photo with your cell phone,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a high enough quality often to identify what it is.
Yeah, that's
So
just my new toy. So.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Use it. Put it to good use.
So in New Jersey, we're in winter now. What types of birds, if somebody was going to go look at anything common, uncommon, or what do you see now?
I'm finding that it's a great thing about New Jersey that I didn't realize when I was growing up here, is that we get different birds here in spring, summer, fall, and winter. It's like being in 4 different places at one time. I spend a lot of time in Florida these days, and in Florida, things don't change through the whole year. The birds you see in spring and winter, they're essentially the same ones for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a few that change. But up here, you walk outside now, and it's a completely different world than it is in the middle of summer. I mean, we know that just because the flowers aren't there, things like that. But the birds change completely. So this time of year is really great, for example, for seeing ducks. Right? Most of the ducks don't breed here in New Jersey. They breed north of us, and then when everything gets frozen north of us, they need open water.
Right.
Then they come south and stop in New Jersey. So I actually have some photos I brought that of some of the, people think, when people hear of ducks, they think mallards, right?
Yeah, that would be me, yeah.
Yeah, which it's actually a beautiful duck.
Yeah.
It's one of these birds that to me suffers from what I call the kind of the problem of being very common. That even though it's a really beautiful bird, you take it for granted because it's so common, you see it all the time. So mallard's a gorgeous duck, but there's a lot of other really great ducks that we see here. So I don't know if we could, I see that one of the ducks is there. So this duck here, these are called harlequin ducks. Fantastic bird. They breed up in northern rivers, actually. We think of ducks being in ponds. This bird loves really fast, torrential kinds of rivers. And one of the best places to see them, in the winter, they come right to Barnegat Lighthouse. And photographers flock there just to see these birds, where you can get just a few feet away from them. Gorgeous bird. If we could have the next slide, maybe. Here's another bird that you could see there. This one you could see in large numbers. This is called a long-tailed duck. You see the male does have a very long tail, beautiful black and silver pattern to him.
Yeah, very pretty.
You could find them all along the shore. They like feeding right in the surf, but you could see hundreds of them at a time at a place like Barnegat Light.
Yeah.
Beautiful duck.
Yeah.
Next one. This is another one you could see at Barnegat. Look at the bill on that thing.
Yeah.
Right, very, very different from the other ones. This is called a surf scoter. And you can tell it has a kind of a sturdy bill, so it feeds on things like clams and mussels,
Right, okay.
shellfish. Really cool bird. That's a saltwater duck. And what else do we have? Oh, this is a gorgeous, look at this bird. All right, this is a hooded merganser. Two of them, actually. These are the males, and you see when the males, towards the end of winter, as it's going into spring, that big hood almost
that's
looks like it inflates. It's just a gorgeous bird, spectacular. The one in the back doesn't have its hood flared up like that, but what a gorgeous bird. Here's one that actually does breed in New Jersey. This is the wood duck. I mean, look at the patterns, the colors
Very
on that
colorful,
bird.
yeah.
That's probably the only duck that gives the harlequins a challenge for the most gorgeous
Did you
duck.
take that shot?
Oh yeah, these are all my photos.
Yeah, I mean, look, your background and everything, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that was, I think, in the Bronx, I actually took that one.
Really? Wow, it's
But you can
beautiful.
see these, places like Forsyth National Wildlife Refuge, you could see dozens of them sometimes.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Speaking of Forsyth, this is the other thing that comes through this time of year are the geese. And these are snow geese. Just look at the numbers. Right, snow geese aren't really very gaudy, they're just kind of plain white birds for the most part. But when you see them in numbers like that and you're at Forsyth and a couple thousand birds fly over you, oh man. So these are the kinds of things we do in winter. The ducks and the geese are really spectacular things to see this time of year.
I know that this past year you've started doing a lot of butterflying, like, not butterflying, but
That's what I'm
looking
calling,
for butterflying. Okay,
Yeah.
it was birders and butterflying.
And I'm a butterflyer too.
Butterflyer. That's like a more recent interest, or I know that you had spoken about that before.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, we see monarchs and we think that's all there is to butterflies.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other ones that are in New Jersey. Actually, not a lot. There's about 125 butterflies that have been seen all time in New Jersey.
Wow.
So that's one of the good things about studying butterflies or learning them, is that there's not an overwhelming number of them.
Yeah.
And some of those are rare. Some of them are only seen in North Jersey. Some are only in South Jersey. So there's not an overwhelming number. You could learn maybe a dozen or 20 butterflies, and that's going to be 99% of the ones that you see. So
Right.
it's easy to learn 20 butterflies, and people think you know all of them, because that's the majority of what you see. But it's been a lot of fun. I've only done that for the past year. I saw most of the kind of normal ones. There's a few rare ones I'm still looking for, but that's good too. That'll keep me busy next year.
Let me ask you a question now. With suppose global warming and the way the temperatures are changing and all of the storms and all of the differences that are coming through, not only for endangering certain species and stuff, but are you starting to see more let's say birds or butterflies in New Jersey than you normally would have in years past? Or like, are we having warmer winters? Is it changing the geographic locations of some of these species?
Absolutely. I mean, boy, I don't know where to start with that. There's birds that are seen now regularly that wouldn't have been seen here 50 years ago. I remember I gave a seminar once up in New Hampshire, up at Dartmouth, and I saw a cardinal. And the guy who I was with lived up there all his life, and he said, we never saw these when we were a kid. We never saw cardinals, and now they're normal up there.
Yeah.
And there's stories like that all over the place of birds that started breeding in New Jersey in the 1950s, and now they're breeding up in Canada, right? They're just moving that much further north.
Yeah.
There's lots of examples of that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, that they won't become more of an extinct type species, that if they have more places to they go further north, that maybe gives them more, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't have a crystal ball, so
Yeah.
I can't predict that. I just know that there's just been big shifts in some of the bird species. I mean, a lot of people here, they'll say, you know, when they were young, they never saw robins in the winter.
Yeah.
Right? And then you finally saw robins, and you said, oh, spring is here. It's normal to see robins here year-round now. I mean, it's an example everybody's familiar with.
Yeah. All right, so birding was, you know, last year, it's still this year, butterflies this year.
Yeah.
What's next year?
I already decided.
What's that?
Next year is going to be trees.
Oh, okay.
Right, trees, it's a shame. We have these enormous things out there, and most of us just see it and they say it's a tree, or maybe you could say it's an oak or something like that.
Right, yeah.
I want to know more about them. I mean, that's the great thing about being outdoors is there's no lack of questions. Everything I see, I want to know more about.
Yeah.
And I hate walking through the woods and seeing these trees and not know what they are. I want to know which kind of an oak is that, and why is it important, and is it seen here, and is it seen further north of us, south of us? Is it a northern species, southern? Oh. I mean, every single thing I see, I have questions like that.
Well, great. Well, I look forward to you bringing that enthusiasm to one of the meetings next year. Speaking of which, we should probably talk a little bit about the Nature Club too, right?
Right.
I'm a member of it, obviously, and I've gotten a lot out of it. I know you have guest speakers a lot. I mean, I've seen a couple of them, the people that raised the monarch, the butterflies, the couple that actually live close by.
Yeah.
That was very interesting, and I've seen snakes.
Close up?
Well, he walked around, and I was like, yeah, that's good. And then, did he have an eagle or something? He had a hawk. I think he also had a hawk with him. I know more recently we got up close and personal with llamas. That was a lot of fun.
The alpacas.
The alpacas, excuse me. Yeah, the alpacas. That's what I meant to say. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And,
yeah, when we bring animals in, people just love that.
Yeah.
Understandably so, I love it too.
Yeah.
We can't do that all the time. It's really expensive to bring those in, and there's very few organizations, that are willing to do that too.
Yeah.
So we do it as much as we can.
Right. I find it very educational. I mean, I'm trying to remember some of the other speakers. I think there was somebody that came in and did something about trees, I think.
The trees of New Jersey.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then somebody was doing gardens, as I recall. So I find it I'm always taking notes, and I'm taking pictures of the slides and stuff to try to research stuff after the fact. And I love when, I think you did one on butterflies also.
Right.
Which your enthusiasm really comes through when you're presenting something that you really have, you know, birds or the butterflies and stuff like that. And I get comments from fellow attendees that it's so nice and refreshing because you really love this, and it really comes through, you know, your passion when you're talking about it. And I know that everybody appreciates that.
Right. It's hard to fake enthusiasm. I mean, you just, again, I go out there and I just love it. I love being out there, and I feel like I know about that much. Yeah. And there's, you know, that much to learn yet. Yeah. I'm right at the beginning.
When I first started going there too, I think you guys also do something else that I like also called, I think you call it field notes. Is that what you call it?
Field notes, yeah.
You want to explain what that is?
Yeah, at the beginning of all of our meetings, we just asked the people who were there, what have they seen lately? It could be things that you see in the village, could be things that you've seen in a little local park, doesn't matter. We just want to hear what are you seeing? Yeah. So those are interesting.
They are interesting because they're your neighbors, and it's like, wow, you saw this, or what's that? Oh yeah, I saw one of those too. Can you tell me? Yeah. So I like that part of it too because it's very localized. You know?
And sometimes it's not just seeing an animal or a plant or something like that. Sometimes it's a behavior, you know, that an animal was doing, or the number of them. Yeah.
I got to say, the one thing we did over the past couple of months that I really enjoyed was the whale watching.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Out of Belmar, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we do. Some of the members only go to our monthly meetings, and that's fine. You know, not everybody's able to move around. Not everybody has the same interest. Mm-hmm. But we try to kind of, what's the word? Expand on that by bringing people out. You know, it's nice to see photos of birds and butterflies and plants and trees, but it's something else when you're actually there and you could see it. So occasionally we have these trips, field trips, And the whale watch was one of them this year that we had, and that was great. We had, I don't know how many people we had on that, maybe 50 people on the boat that day.
And it was a good weather
It was
day.
awesome. Awesome weather. We saw whales up close and personal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a good
super.
day. It was a good day. Is there anything else with the Nature Club that you want to? I'm sure I forgot half the things that you do. I know you do something for Earth Day. Maybe you could talk about that.
Right. So Earth Day is something that the club has sponsored since before I got here. It's not something I initiated. So we'll do a cleanup of the village. Basically, we ask for volunteers to come into the village and clean up their part of the village, their little part of it.
Right.
So, in fact, this afternoon I'm going to meet with a volunteer who's going to be spearheading and organizing that. So we don't know when it is yet, but keep an eye in the newsletter for information on that. You know, it's great seeing I mean, this is our home.
Yeah.
You know, we keep the inside of our homes clean. We should keep the outside clean also. No, don't just leave it up to people in maintenance.
Yes.
You know, keep it clean. So that's our one day a year where we try to do that.
Yeah. Did I miss anything or anything else that you want to talk about with the Nature Club that we do? Or
Well, I think of Nature Club mostly as educational, and I was glad to hear you use that and say that you keep notes. And
Absolutely.
you know, you don't learn everything from there, but maybe it sparks an interest that you go home and then follow up on that. You know, we don't do dances and we don't do, you know, we don't have music and games and stuff like that. I think of it mostly as an educational thing where, you know, the education is also entertainment too. That's kind of, those two are combined, but in a different way than dances and games.
And we also do shareable snacks at the end, so it's a good time to have a cup of coffee afterwards, meet the fellow attendees, maybe spark up a conversation about whatever was shown that night, and it meets I'm going to get that wrong. The fourth Friday of every month?
The fourth Monday.
Fourth Monday. I knew that.
So
tonight. Yeah, it's
right. So we meet on the fourth Monday of most months.
Right.
We take off for May and December because holidays take over our slots. But the fourth Monday of most months, we meet at 7 o'clock in right here in Willow Hall. Like you said, we have snacks afterwards. And the thing I'd love is that people, after the program is over, people don't rush out and go home.
They
They want to stay there. They want to talk to people who are like-minded individuals. I love seeing people stay and chat for a long time until those donuts and all those goodies are gone.
No, it is a good, and everybody has a really good time.
The other thing we have done in the past, it kind of got put aside because of the COVID years, is we've had potluck dinners. And those have been really a lot of fun too. We've had wine and cheese events.
Oh, wow.
You know,
That's before my time.
Yeah, well, there's kind of pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Yes, I know.
So those are some of our fun events. The other thing we do is we go, not just, the whale watching was kind of a special trip, but the other thing we do is we go on walks occasionally. We've done walks here in the village during spring, when all the flowers are coming out and the birds are coming through. It's a great time to walk even here in the village. We've gone on walks at Manasquan Reservoir in the winter. It's a really nice place to see some of those kind of ducks we were talking about. We've gone to Forsyth National Wildlife Refuge. That's a great place to go any time of the year. Probably the best place to go birding in New Jersey, I think. So we've done field trips like that, and we'll see. The other thing we've done too in past years was we get a boat through the Ocean County parks and through Caddis Island, and we go on this pontoon boat and we go across Barnegat Bay, and there's islands there where there's all these nesting birds.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
All these herons and egrets and things like that.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, we do one of those trips. Again, in the past 2 years, we couldn't do it because there were problems with the boat. Yeah. But that boat is up and running again, so hopefully we'll do that again this year.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, lots of other events outside of the monthly meetings.
Yeah. Oh, great. Did I leave anything out? Anything else that you?
No, well, you know, the thing that I really want to get across here is that, you know, if you're interested in art, you can go to a museum and walk through the museum by yourself, and it could be fun. Right, you'll see some things, but it's different if you go with somebody who knows the art and can tell you about it, or you go with a docent there who can explain things to you. And the same is true of nature. You could try doing it yourself. You could try it with the apps, but it's 100 times better when you go with somebody who knows what they're looking at. I mean, I was on a walk just this past weekend with our local bird club, and there were 2 new members that came on that, actually 3 new members that came on that walk. And afterwards, they said the thing that I hear all the time, right? They said, you know, that was so great, but there was so much stuff I wouldn't have seen if I came by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, you know, whether it's going out with Nature Club or going out with the local Audubon Society or going out with the Ocean County Parks have really great programs, great walks. You know, go out and see them in person with somebody who can explain things to you.
I know. When I was on Long Island, there's a father and daughter team out there that do presentations at local parks, and they switch up the parks, and it's all about edible plants, and they take you through the park, and they show you what you can eat and you've walked probably, there are parks that I had walked my whole life that I would have never known that half of the things, it was like, oh my God, you can eat that leaf? Oh my God, you just dig a little there, you could eat that. You would have never known that. And I love tour guides. I love somebody with knowledge, because otherwise you're just passing something and you don't know what you're passing. So I totally get that. You know, I agree with you on that. You know.
Great. So that's really the main point.
Yeah.
And Nature Club could be one of the organizations that helps people to get out and learn things like that. But you know, the Ocean County Parks, again, my hat's off to them. They have such variety of programs. Take advantage of it. You pay your taxes. Take advantage of that.
Well, it's a good resource to know. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming in today and taking the time to spend a little bit of your day with us here, and hope to see you all at the Nature Club, and thank you very much.
Okay.